Hey y'all, so this is my very first sewing pattern that I'm putting on my website. Well, it's kind of my first. I think I have a couple that are like one size or, you have to adapt it or one size fits all, but this is like my first range of size sewing pattern that's available on my website for a fee. I would be really happy if you went and bought it because there was a lot of work that came into this. I haven't posted anything since like February, so a lot of that work was this. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And so yeah, here are the video instructions on how to put together my scrapwork romper. The idea of this romper, by the way, it's called JEOS, but that stands for Julie, Eradicator of Straps. I thought it would be funny. The name Julie was the funniest name to put with Eradicator of Scraps. But basically the idea is to use up as many scraps as you can to piecework this romper together. I do realize that some of the scraps or some of the sewing patterns are a little bit long and a little bit large, so I have another tutorial that I'll link to here on how to make the most of your scraps when it comes to piecing them together for larger sewing patterns. So with that having been said, please enjoy the video. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is cut out all the patterns. Make sure you measure from this to the edge of the fabric right here and make sure that that measurement is the same here as it is here, which I did and then pinned. Usually it's right, you fold these fabrics right sides together and have the wrong side sticking out, but I did the opposite because I want to keep track of this side one, side two. My patterns have this little boxes for you to check off just in case, because the idea is you use different scraps and different pieces of fabric. So before or right after you cut it out, you're also going to want to take some chalk and just trace this outline right here. And I'm going to do that before I start, but you don't have to trace this. You just want to measure to make sure it's 2 inches here and 2 inches here. I will go ahead and cut out all of the patterns now and then tell you what to do from there. Before I continue, you can see my previous or next video, I don't know when I'll post that, about how I do patchwork here, but I'm just treating this like one big piece of fabric. I wanted to point something out. So you see how I say center front here, and then I have the size and how many to cut. It says cut to mirrored, but I only have one layer and it's facing up. And that's because I'm going to cut another one with the pattern facing down and the fabric facing up as well. I just want to keep it consistent, so that's why they're both facing up. And that's where these little boxes that say side 1 and side 2 come in, because this is side 1, so I'm going to check that off once I finish cutting, and then if I look at the pattern pieces, I'll know that I still have side 2 to do. And that's how you can keep this project a bit more organized. Alright, so it really doesn't matter what you start with, as long as you do things in the appropriate order so you're not messing up with regards to the pockets. But I think I'm going to do the center, back, and sides first. And how I like to do these things is I like to do it wrong sides together and then top stitch. You can do it right sides together, but the idea is to just connect it center back and then each side. All right, now that I have these two attached, and again, you don't have to start here, but I am starting at center back. The reason I'm doing that is just because I feel like it. Okay, so I have these two pieces. Oh, I did not mean to attach rainbow to rainbow. I could go ahead and print out a whole different, or cut out a whole different scrap, but I kind of don't want to, so I don't mind. This is the back. However, I hope that whoever buys it doesn't mind, but I think because these are different enough tie-dye, it's fine. And I did a little experimentation with this one. You don't have to, sorry, I sighed because I thought I wasn't recording for a second there. You don't have to do anything like this, but if you want to, all I did was grab one solid sheet of fabric, put double face interfacing, and then put some scraps on top and zigzag them. over until I got a textile and then cut out from that textile. Again, you don't have to do anything like that. I just thought I would. So I'm gonna go sew this to here and this to here. Again, it is at a 5/8 seam allowance, I believe. Yeah, it was about 5/8 of a seam allowance. I might take it down to 1/2 inch for all of these. Actually, it's whatever seam allowance my instructions say it is. Let's leave it at that. All right, now that we have that done, we kind of can't do anything until we do the bottoms. These are the side back and the center back. Normally when you have a sewing pattern, it would just be center back, but I want to be able to say, hey, I used scraps. I could also cut another piece here, or you could do that. So yeah. Now, again, wrong sides together. What I want to do is, or what you want to do is keep this center line open and sew around this curve. Okay, and then we're going to get to the side back on the shorts. And it doesn't matter if you do side back first or center back first. I'm just doing center back first. Okay, now that we've done that, we need the side back. And it would be helpful if, yeah, okay. Side back is facing this way, which means this one goes here and this one goes over here. So I'm just going to do that and then come back. Now we take the top and the bottom and we connect them. Now remember, this is the back. So we're connecting the backs and we're doing it at the center seam. That should match up. And then these seams don't match up because they don't have to. So as long as it matches up from side to side and at the center seam, you should be good. I know this is the same as this, similar to this, and that these two are matching. I don't mind. I'm trying to be more loosey about things matching up where things not matching up. So let's connect these same way you were doing before. So if you were doing the traditional sewing, it'd be right sides together. If you're doing my technique, it's wrong sides together and then decorative stitch and top stitch. The center front, and make sure before you do this that your right side of the fabric has little marks where the pocket placement is going to go. And this might not be correctly sliced yet, but I hope it is. Oh, it's a little big, but I think just make sure you place the bottom right. And that should be good. So back to this, right sides together, or right sides together if you're doing it the traditional way, wrong sides together if you're doing it my way. And we're just going to sew this center front together along this seam. Do not sew here. This goes to the back. All right, so now that I've attached the front piece, the two front pieces, we have the side pieces. And the side pieces put the tall part here with this side here. Oops, sorry. And I'm going to try to match these up like they are notches. They're not really, but you know. And this might overlap on this corner. Sometimes with patchwork and making sewing patterns, things that align in the virtual pattern don't in real life. That's okay. Just measure it from the bottom down here, or match it from the bottom down here and the notches, and then go up from there. It might end up curving around like this. That's okay too. Just, it doesn't matter that much. Just do whatever feels best. And I will attach both sides of this and we will get to putting the front and back together. So next is the pocket, and you see these little chalk lines. What you want to do is fold and iron, and then for this top one, fold here, and then here, iron, and then top stitch here. So I have this one folded. I'm going to leave these 3 sides ironed down, but the top I'm going to stitch with a straight stitch right along here. And I'm going to do that for both of these. As for the pocket, you want the middle, so I'm just going to fold. You could also mark this with chalk. I just don't feel like it. So middle of the pocket to go on this seam here. And then it will be a little low, so I think measure it out so that this is just above this. This goes straight onto the seam just like this, and then you lay everything flat and pin the pocket in place. And then what you're going to want to do is just sew over these edges right here with either a straight stitch or a decorative stitch, and then do it to the other side, and then we can attach front and back. Welcome to episode 5000 of me being mad at my tripod. Okay, so now that we have the front and back finished, what we want to do is combine them at the crotch seam. So if you were doing this the traditional way, you'd be putting them right sides together, but that's not how we're doing it. We're doing it wrong sides together. So what you want to do is, you see this seam in the middle here and this seam? Line it up right here, pin it, and then pin it along the crotch right here, and you'll be sewing here. And then for the side seams, it's pretty straightforward. Just go from here all the way up. Making sure to match it. And make sure that you leave these holes, or wait a minute, that's not right. Oh, that would have been bad. Okay. Here, up. Make sure that you leave, no, that's not right either. Okay, let's start this over. Front and back. Here to here is the crotch. Then there should be an opening for the leg, so don't sew here, but do sew from here, making sure that the seams are matched up all the way to the sides. And then keep this part open. This will be your leg hole, and do the side seams. And then you will have one cohesive piece. All right, so for the straps, you actually do want to do right sides together at 5/8 of a seam allowance, so here and here. And I'm going to sew both of these long parts, and then I'm going to leave this side. I don't have it marked on the pattern. It can be this side or it can be this side. It really doesn't matter. So whichever side you want, just make sure that's the same on both of them. And it gets a little more complicated if you're using like patterns and, or not patterns, if you're using like print and you want to make one side special, if there's a scrap you really want showing on the front or whatever. But I'm using the same scrap of fabric for every single piece, so it really doesn't matter to me. And we're leaving this side open because we're sewing it to the center back top, that top right there, and then we can get to hemming everything. So you want to sew this like this, and then unfold it so that it's no longer right sides together after you sew. And then you can top stitch or just iron it and then stick it onto the center back. Okay, so I'm going to sew this right sides together, and that's because I can top stitch over this. So first sew it, make sure you're on the back so there are no pockets here, and that's how I can tell. Also, I mean, the bridge is longer in the back, but the easiest way to tell is no pockets. and I just placed it with these edges together. And so there's a little gap in the middle. And yeah, 5/8, sew it, and then top stitch over it here. And then you'll be ready to hem all of this. And I did do it with about 1 inch. So I'm going to fold it over. I haven't decided if I'm going to double fold it or if I'm going to do one fold and do one of these special stitches. But either way, just fold it over so that there's 1 inch of overflow there and all around here. And you can do that and hem the bottom with the same 1 inch. And then we'll be on to the holes that you want to put in the front. I messed up on the tutorial, you guys. Arg. So I'm not going to redo it because I already did a lot here, but I am going to tell you what you should have done is just put this edge and this edge against each other in the center front. So put it here, so, and here, so. And that way you'll have that inch there. I'm just going to fix it my own way, but I will put this in, this little insert video into the instruction where I'm telling you guys how to do this, because that's no longer correct. So make sure to match them together in the center back right on the seam, not edge to edge on the outside. Okay? Okay. So what I did is I took my ruler and I put it against this seam right here as a guide, and then I measured 1 inch out going diagonal this way, and that is where the buttonhole is going to start. Now I think I want it to go this way, so I already measured my strap, and my strap comes out to about 2 inches wide, so I'm going to make this buttonhole 1 inch wide and put the other side of it right here at this measurement. But first, well, I might as well mark that, and then I'm going to put some double side interfacing and another layer on just to keep it, or just to make it a little bit stronger. And then I'll put the buttonhole right here. For the belt, it's the same rules as for the straps, where you put the right sides together and then sew 5/8 seam allowance. Except if you want to keep it thicker, you could. 5/8 is really just the placeholder that I kept, but I'm going to do 5/8. And except when you get to these edges, you're going to want to sew both of them closed and instead keep like from here to here on one side open. That way you can flip it inside out even easier. So just keep a large patch in the middle where you don't sew it quite yet. And then after you sew it, you can press it and top stitch it all together. And when you top stitch it, you'll be closing up this gap. So that's the belt. As for the top, it just needs either grommets or a buttonhole on each side so that you can thread through the straps, and then you will be done. Okay, so now that I've done that, I also use the pinking shears just around the edges. I know I'm going to top stitch them later, so fraying shouldn't be that much of an issue, but I was worried about it, so I went ahead and cut it. And so I cannot believe that I didn't get video of this, but that's okay. Here is the finished results in pictures. You can see I have it hanging up on the left, and then I have one of me in it and a back view as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Go ahead and give it a like and share if you did. And I will post below or link below the sewing pattern for this. And as always, happy sewing. Bye. Now for the belts, I'm going to measure at least an inch. I'm thinking 1.5 inches from the edge. Mark it in the very center of the piece, and do that for both of these. And then I'm going to make a buttonhole based on that measurement going up and down. And that buttonhole I want to be 2.25. So I'm going to divide the width of this belt by 2.25, and by 2. So I'm going to divide the width of this belt by 2, and that'll give me how big I want my buttonhole. I'm just going to place it here on this one and here on this one, and that way you can use either side of the belt to tie it up.